Jonathan. Hey, it's you.
Welcome to Enrichment of Mind, Body, and Soul. How are you guys doing?
Fantastic. Hello, hello. I'm glad to be here again.
Oh my goodness. Welcome, 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 welcome. Anthony, you're a champion. You're truly a champion.
Thank you so much. That means a lot coming from you, Lady K.
Yeah, oh my goodness. You are a trooper. You're a champion. But I want to toss the mic to Lady J. Lady J, take the mic.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, Emma. It's such a joy when we can be in the house with friends.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Aw,
Friends who we travel this journey with together and
Yeah.
arrive to this moment and will continue forward. So it's a true honor for us to be here this evening with Tommy Thompson, which is our season friends behind, and Mary and Anthony. It's such a joy because when we can all gather together and support each other on our journeys to get our journey together, it makes a big difference because we know that you believe in us, we believe in you, and we bring in something truly special to the world. So it's a true joy, a true honor. Thank you for being here. Thank you for saying yes.
mhm.
And we're not going to do congratulations for being here with all wellness and everything. And we're going to leave everything late. But I just want to start off with asking the audience tonight because we got such a special topic, which we're talking about medicine with N. And with, where we have the shamanist who is going to share his story, Anthony, and then resilience and renewal. And it's funny that this those words keep coming up because we took a little bit of rest a couple weeks ago, and the topic we came back in with was rest, hope, and renewal, right? And I guess it's a time of year which we all are thinking about how are we choosing to focus in our lives, how are we choosing to end or conclude 2025 and move into 2026? But before we get to 26, how are we really ending strong? Are we resting enough? Do we have the level of resilience with that hope and optimism that's going to transport us into a level of renewal, freshness, new beginning, inspiration, insights, new perspectives, so that we can really have a clear eye and clarity in the direction we want to travel to move forward. And who are we? Are we loving are we loving ourselves? Are we believing in ourselves? Are we leaning into our inner wisdom? Are we focusing on pausing, going within? Are we practicing routine on a daily basis when we wake up in the morning? What is your routine? Sit with that tonight and answer yourself or ask yourself the question: what is my morning routine? How am I starting my day before I fortify myself to step into the world, to give and to serve? Am I fortifying myself? Am I being whole? So that when I give full. I'm stepping into my greatness. Just sit with that for a minute and think about it. And how are you closing at the end of your day? Where you practice a level of gratitude that you move through your day, you give what and you serve, and you feel a level of gratitude in your heart so that you can rest easy, a good night rest, because you have a self of satisfaction that I have gave, I've served from a good place. It's heart centered. Sit with that and think about it. Are you showing yourself love and compassion? Or are you choosing what is not choosing you? What are you choosing tonight? Are you letting go of things that are not serving you well? What are you holding on to? Ask yourself a question tonight that is weighing you down, that is not good for you. Because in order to live life and to live full and walk with a level of greatness, you want to move light. And you don't want things to weigh you down that, unforgiveness, people have done you wrong, but please, we're asking you tonight, find some way in your heart to just let it go, not for them, but for you, so that you can achieve all the greatest that life has to offer you. Are you celebrating your wins, big or small? Stop, pause, look at those wins, even though it might be small for you. You've worked hard to get there. Stop and enjoy that moment, big or small. Or you remind yourself who you are. You're special, you're amazing. You've got a special gift or gifts that is inside of you. What are you not burdening? What is standing in the way of you for your next move? What is that? What is it that holding you back? Yes, sometimes you might face fear, rejection, no's, but use that as a sense of motivation to propel you forward. It's a level of redirection so that you can get every single thing that you're going after in life. And the reason why we spoke, we have written our books, which is called Self Care, is intentional, and you're gutting you because you want you to take good care of yourself, nourish and nurture yourself. Because we can have all the goals and all the aspiration and everything we're going after in life, and that is good. But when we achieve that, we want to be of full health, a life of vitality, strong. Are you focusing on your microbiome? What are you putting in your bodies that is not good for you? And are you pausing and taking that time so you can focus on your self-care so that you can really enjoy the level of life of excellence for you? So we want to just and especially want to talk to caregivers because it's such a big deal because we give so much. We are caregivers. We care for our mom, care for our grandmother, and we also are caregivers in the world out there too as well. So it's essential. We're speaking from a place of knowing that caregiving, you got to really focus on yourself so that you can really stay strong, so that you can serve and serve from a great place, heart centered, so that you can give because the person who you're caring for, whether it's a professional caregiving or a family caregiver, they're depending on you. They're looking to you for hope. Their eyes light up when they see you because you're giving them something that they need in that moment: love, compassion, care, comfort. But in order for you to provide us on a full level, on a good scale, you got to take care of yourself. Take that time, get outside into nature, embrace nature because you get inspired from out there. You feel renewed. Let's put it that way. You feel renewed when you're out there. I mean, we are nature ladies and we are out there all the time just pulling in that level of energy. So when you can step back into the space that whatever is it you in, whatever career you're in, take that time for yourself. Get out into nature so you can serve and serve well. Tonight is a great night. Just sit back, relax, invite a friend to join us because you're going to hear a great story from Shaman and Mary, who is his partner of living a life of healing and wisdom and great presence because that is what they're bringing here tonight. They're bringing great presence. They're going to pour on you tonight how they move through and move to a space of resilience, renewal, aspiration. So sit back, relax, invite a friend. Because when you enter the space of enrichment of mind, body, and soul, you never leave the same because there's so much goodies is offered from all our amazing guests that come through in this space. Sit back, relax, and thank you for subscribing to our YouTube channel. Thank you for all the notes and messages that you send us all the time. We may not get to you right away, but we're getting to you. We're catching up to you. And so we can just celebrate you for all the support that you give to us all the time too as well. And we just want to congratulate all of you for everything that you're doing to make a difference in this world. You are creating an impact. Whatever space that you're in, whatever is it that you're doing, you are making a difference. Small or big, you are making a difference. You are touching lives in various spaces. So we just want to thank you for every single thing. My name is Lady J, certified holistic health and wellness coach, author of the two books that I spoke to you about in our magazine and stuff like that. But I'm going to leave the rest to Lady K, who is going to pick it up from there. Lady K?
What a great intro, Lady J. I don't think there's nothing much more for me to top that off with. This is such a beautiful space and it's a great energy.
Yeah.
When you sit back on a Sunday evening or whichever platform you're on, and you sit back and just relax in this space, you can feel that positive energy, and feeling the positive energy, it becomes a part of you. When you enter into this space, it is very sacred
Mm.
because when you walk away from this space, there is something that you can walk away with. And when you walk away, you'll never be the same because you know why? We give you something to think.
Right.
We give you something to ponder on. And when you start to think, transformations start to happen. As our friend Will would say, we speak to the subconscious mind.
How well?
We speak to the subconscious mind, or a guest speak to the subconscious mind. And when you speak to the subconscious mind, there is where transformation takes place. Because your thoughts start to change and you start to see yourself different. So tonight, invite a friend. And don't forget to subscribe to Soul Light and Body, that you will never miss none of these episodes, because these episodes are very empowering.
Right.
They're very, very empowering. When we come into this space, we don't just come just like that. We think about the topic and we allow the spirit to guide us in these different platforms and spaces. And this evening, we're going to talk about resilience. We're going to talk about healing within.
Mm.
We're going to talk about companionship. We're going to talk about when you're going through something, who is at your side, who is holding you up.
Yep.
When you're going through something in your life, something major in your life, who is the person is at your side, helping you along in those moments. Sometimes it could be very scary. Those moments could be very scary, But who is that person is at your side in those moments, holding your hand and saying to you, honey, baby, whatever you're going to call the person.
Right. Mm-hmm.
We're in this together. I got you. I'm going to hold your hand through this, And in those moments, when we are going through different challenges, I like what Anthony said before we came on screen. He said it's a rebirth, which is absolutely right.
Yeah.
Those moments are rebirth. Whatever challenges or experiences that we go through, it's a rebirth, because you'll never be the same. When you come out from a challenge or experience or whatever situation you're going through, when you come out from that situation, you are not the same person who entered that situation. And there's so much you learn. You learn, your family learn, your friends learn from that simple situation, because it's transformative. And there is where you gather the strength that you need. Your family gather the strength. Your friends gather strength. Your acquaintances gather strength. Your followers gather strength in those moments. So this evening, we're here to let you know that whatever you're going through, there is hope. There is hope.
Yep.
There is hope. But you have to believe in yourself. You have to believe in who you are. Because in those moments, there is where your modalities come in. Because you got to anchor yourself in those moments. and pull up everything within you so that you can stand and have the faith to go through these challenges. So this evening, I'm not going to take up much more time because I really want Anthony and Mary to share the story because it's such a story of resilience. And this evening, we just want to thank them so much for coming on this platform and being vulnerable and to share this story because we know this story is going to help someone.
Of course.
It's going to help a husband and a wife or a fiance with a partner, or even someone who is taking care of someone. It's going to help that person to understand resilience and understand the love, the unity. So this evening, we just want you to sit back and just to relax and just to ride with us for this 2 hours. Make sure you grab a pen and a paper because you're going to get notes that you're going to be taken away from this episode, because the thing is that when we have our stories and when we share our stories, it helps someone out there. It definitely helps someone out there. So if you know someone who can benefit from this episode tonight, we highly suggest that you share Soul Light and Body Link with them so they can join and could be part of this conversation. And don't be afraid to share your comments. Let us know how you're feeling at this moment. How are you really feeling at this moment? We are in the 9th month of 2025. How are you feeling? What's happening within this vessel? What's happening within here? Is there turmoil happening within here? What modalities are you using to help yourself on a daily basis? What are some of the things that you're telling yourself? What are your self-narrative?
Right.
Every day, what are the things that you're feeding your soul with? Are there things that your soul want to hear? Because many times we are feeding ourselves with the wrong food, and when you feed yourself with the wrong food, the body rejects it. So just sit back, relax, and as we go through these segments this evening, ask yourself some questions. Sometimes the questions normally be so hard for you to ask yourself, but it's okay to ask yourself questions because you got the answer. When you ask yourself the questions, the answers is within you. So sit back in a comfortable chair and feel relaxed and just listen to this story this evening because you know what? It's transformational. It is transformational. So Anthony and Mary, just want to thank you once again for joining us in this space and sharing your story with us. Because we know, as I said, it's going to change someone's life. And Tommy Thompson, thank you for being here.
Hi, Tommy.
Hi, Tommy.
So we're going to toss the mic now to Mary and Anthony. Take the mic.
Yeah.
It's all yours.
Do you want to go or shall
I don't know. I think you should start.
Well, if anybody knows me, you know that I can get into talking. I can get into a lot of discussion and deep into things. And what I find really interesting is how this kind of has come about. And what you're talking about is resilience. And this is something I'm highly focused on and something I try to help others discover within themselves. And I also like to, just kind of lead by example through that, through resilience. And this kind of brings me into some more recent kind of spiritual work I've been doing. I'll spend time and I'll ask questions. As you were saying, asking these questions. Questions are so important to your self-development because the question is where the answer actually is. All answers actually exist in the field of living energy. It's the question usually is what's missing for most people. And my question recently was, I was asking my spiritual guidance, how is it that I keep making it through these things? How is it that I keep overcoming these amazing things? Like I've been through so many things. I've survived house fires and illnesses and lung disease and osteoarthritis and most recently severe aortic dissection. And I just keep continuing to make it. And the word that came through was resilience. That's the word. It's resilience. It's your ability to adapt. And what the spiritual guidance began to tell me is this is the true basis of human intelligence. We often get caught up in these ideas of intelligence being able to, maybe manipulate math or numbers or, simply recall information and things like that, things that are measured with like an intelligence quotient or an IQ. But our true real intelligence is our ability to adapt, our ability to change. And this is something you've already laid the groundwork with in your openings with things, is the ability to be able to take the information you have and turn it into something that works for you. And what came through as I worked with spirit is something, kind of a tagline now that I'm using that I really enjoy, and that is resilience is brilliance. So if you're going to note,
that's a good one. That's a good one.
I would note resilience is brilliance. Your true brilliance resides within your ability to adapt, within your ability to shift. Because if you look at things, we are the most adaptable species on the planet. However, we're not actually using that capacity and capability because our minds are geared more towards seeking comfort instead of going into the discomfort of things. And I think a lot of that has to do with language. It has a lot to do with definitions people put on words. Our minds are always weighing things all the time. Is this good or is this bad? Is this good or is this bad? Where you can begin to train your mind to look at things as they just are. You don't have to name them good or bad. And this goes kind of into a saying I use with my students and people I work with. I'll say things like, all energy is good energy when you know what to do with it, when you know how to transform that energy. And that's really where resilience begins, is in your ability to be able to shift the energy of your mindset. Shifting the energy of your mind from taking something like, like I just mentioned, and we'll get into this story in a moment, my recent health things that came up. The first reaction of the mind is, oh my gosh, this is so bad and all these things. But then the second part, when you use the deeper parts of your mind, your awakened mind, you start to look at it. What is this teaching me? What is this giving me? What gift is available in this segment of my life and my being, this perceived challenge? What lives within this? What energy can I take and use from there? And this really is what mutation or like alchemy is the ability to take that information and start to use it in a way that actually works for you. So I think it's excellent that we're talking about resilience and renewal. And just as you mentioned before we got on the show, rebirth. We're all being reborn again over and over. And this can be looked at many different ways. It depends on what frequency of consciousness you reside in. If it's still much in a physical kind of plane, it's I'm being reborn through my challenges. If you're moving into a higher plane of consciousness, you become aware that you're actually quantum shifting. You're moving from one vibrational frequency of being into another. You're actually moving vibrationally. Both are correct. Neither one are wrong. Like I said, I like to be a bridge for things. I like to be a bridge between ancient human technology and modern science, because they're both important and they're both saying the same thing, just in different languages. So it's basically bridging those languages together. And this is how another part of our resilience is the ability to bridge things, not get caught in one direction. Because I'm a holistic practitioner, and a lot of my peers and people I work with are very anti-Western medicine, very anti these, common types of healthcare. Whereas I'm not, because certain types of healthcare need to be used. You need surgery sometimes. You're going to need, trauma care from time to time. But the thing that I realize and needs to change, and what I am here and want to work with and begin to change, is beginning to bring the aspects of healing into healthcare, where these two things merge together. Because while I was in the hospital in my stay, I was grateful for the masterful people that helped put Humpty Dumpty back together again. But what didn't exist there was healing. When I was in my hospital bed after the surgeries and everything happened, when I was there, it became apparently aware to me that the system isn't designed to help people actually heal. They have protocols in store and all kinds of things that actually aren't beneficial to helping people heal. But something I also learned is that a lot of things where I went happened to be the Cleveland Clinic. And Cleveland Clinic is a huge hospital system. It's a huge center for treatment and surgery and care.
Especially for heart. Thank God.
Yeah. And that's something that, like, while I was there in the hospital, that's something that my spiritual mind began to dream. And I think dreaming, visualization is one of the most important things a human can have, because everything we experience here in the physical plane, everything, your clothes, the room you're in, the house, the drywall, everything there is came from there. That came from a dream, or what we would say your imagination, or your ability to visualize, which is kind of taken away from us as we're children, as if it's unreal, but it's very real, because everything you can ever create happens from that standpoint. In the Andean traditions, we talk about this as there's kind of two types of energy. The first one being manifested light. We call that kausai. And that manifested light is everything you experience as the physical plane. Everything from the stars and the moon all the way to the tiniest microbes. Then there's another kind of energy that we talk about, and that's called kanchai. And kanchai is unmanifested light. This is the things that do not exist in a physical plane. It only exists through your connection into the quantum field, or the higher presence of knowledge. And both of these things are very important and need to be balanced in order for one to be resilient. And these are the kind of things I like to take time to help people learn about. And I like to take time to instruct people how to even do something simple as breathe. Those of you that know me know I'm a breath shaman. That's primarily what I teach. There's a reason why I teach this. It's because your breath, I can't make this, so I'm going to say this as plainly as I can. Your breath is your direct connection to God. I'll say that again. Your breath is your direct connection to God. Now, you can replace the word God with another word if that's uncomfortable for you. That's what I try to teach people. I don't teach from a religious standpoint. However, I'm not against any religion. However your religion and your belief system is fine with me. But all of us have some sort of understanding, at least to some degree, that there's some sort of higher power, energy,
Right.
or intelligence that tells everything to be what it is. And if you don't think about it, the easiest way to think about that is I would ask you, what tells the 30 trillion cells of your body to be you? What tells all these separate little things to work together is a unit to be the universe that you experience as you? That's the thing I'm talking about. That's what God is to me. The God is the all that is. And your direct connection to that is your breath. Because now it's becoming, that's the best part about being alive in this time, is that science is finally beginning to catch up to what mystics have always known. Mystics have always known that your breath is a direct connection to creation itself. And now we're starting to have the ability where we can actually measure that when you breathe, we have it broken down to these ideas like it's oxygen and nitrogen and, all these ideas, what we think we know what it is. But on a deeper level, it's light. It's biophotons. When you're taking it in, we can actually see this now with new technologies, that when you're breathing in, you're actually taking in an electrical charge. And when you begin to take in this electrical charge, its capability and capacity is to begin to awaken the divine intelligence that already lives within you. This isn't something new. That's another thing I try to teach about spirituality. Your spirituality isn't that you're gaining your spirituality. You're not gaining anything. What's happening is you're removing parts of you that you're not. Because you're already spirit, you're already soul, you're already creation itself, having this beautiful human experience. The thing is many people think that they need to seek a life that is without challenge. I guarantee you, the harder you seek a life without challenge, the more challenging it will be for you. That's what I would say. So that is the way it is. Challenge. I've trained myself in my personal experience to look at challenge. I look at it not from a place of fear or resistance, but a place of acceptance and excitement when these things show up. And I think that's, for me, been the most important thing for me to go through these things. Like we say the words like recovery. I don't see it as recovery because I'm not going back to who I was. Just like kind of how we talked about earlier. Who I was is dead. He's gone. That's over with. Right. I'm being born. I'm consistently being born and molded into what I'm meant to be, into the greater self. And I don't resist that. I don't try to hold on to what was. And that was a big thing I learned through my experience with all of this, because, the thing is when you get your chest cracked open, when you get opened up, I mean, just on a physical level, it does something horrific to your nervous system. I have a highly tuned nervous system, but having myself torn open and ripped apart totally dysregulated my nervous system. There was all kinds of issues and problems happening due to that opening. But even on a deeper level, on a more metaphysical level, your heart chakra is cracked open. Your at a primary energy center of your body is open. And what this does is this can create levels of vulnerability and things that no one could possibly understand unless they've gone through this themselves.
Sure.
And I'm not saying I'm not saying I recommend that you go out and try this. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is it's one of the greatest gifts that's ever been given to me. And for many people, that sounds absolutely insane. Because when people come up to me, it's quite often like, I am so sorry that this happened to you and everything. And, if I don't think they can handle my explanation, I just accept the sentiment and move along. If someone can hear what I have to say, I explain to them how it's been something that's been given to me. Nothing's been taken from me. I've been given a whole new life. A whole new version of me has arisen. And that to me is what resilience is allowing yourself to move into, without resistance, new versions of yourself. Sometimes those new versions are really uncomfortable, and that's okay. Sometimes it has to be uncomfortable. As I was just saying before, it's really important to understand, I don't care how spiritual you become or how high you fly or whatever it is you think it is, all of us are going to be challenged one way or another, whether that's with something physical, mental, emotional. All that stuff is just energy. You're going to be challenged. That's what's going to happen. And what it's going to do is going to prove to you that you're resilient or not. Either way, that's okay. The universe doesn't care. The universe doesn't work. God doesn't work in a way that punishes us. It's not a punishment. There's nobody's being punished. It's just a reaction to your energy, a reaction to your vibration in the field. That's all it does. So whatever shows up, it could be what in your mind, the worst possible thing you could imagine could show up. But if you're able to turn that around and move through that, that is your resilience. That, in a deeper way, is what builds your faith. And this doesn't mean, I don't mean that again. I don't mean that in a religious way. I mean faith in the knowing that the universe is always working in your favor. The universe is always working in your favor, whether you can see that or not in the moment.
True.
But that's what faith is. Faith is believing in something that maybe you can't see right away, but you have trust, you have faith in knowing that it's always going to take you where you need to go.
Yes. And I just want to add something really quick.
Wow,
you're talking about
that is so beautifully said.
The way that you don't look at things as being bad that happen to you.
Right.
And when challenges present themselves. Most people, we all go through life, and this goes for all of us at any point in our lives. As we continue to evolve and learn, we don't know until we know.
Sure.
And so I remember becoming aware of the fact that how much power we don't realize we have through our thoughts. Mm-hmm. And through what we're accepting and agreeing to. And when you become aware of the fact that you do not have to victimize yourself and choose to be a victim, whether it's a situation of something happening physical, or if it's a situation with another person and their words, you don't have to become a victim of it. And even if it's painful in the moment, you can allow yourself to observe that experience. Mm-hmm. And you can allow yourself to navigate through it without reaction sometimes. Sometimes you do have reaction. But the power that comes within, when you can look at the situation as not being a victim, but looking at it as, what is this here to teach me? What am I going to gain from this? And that's huge. So like when you're talking about, not looking at a situation like a medical emergency and stuff like that is not something happening. I remember when you were in physical therapy and this guy comes walking up, he's like, I'm really sorry that we're here, and for us, we were so overwhelmed with gratitude that he was here, So it's just like seeing those perceptions so very clearly, and knowing like there's so many people still navigating through this world, victimizing themselves and keeping themselves from that empowerment that is inside of us, all of us. And when we choose not to agree with the situation as being something that is against us or holding us back or is there to hurt us, and we can look at it as, okay, this is here to challenge us because it's going to teach us something, and that means growth. When you have that awareness, even if in those moments when it's happening, it hurts and you can't get to that place yet, what has helped me in moments like that is, because my mind likes to kick me when I'm down, right? Like, why can't you help yourself? You could help somebody else. Like, why aren't you showing up for yourself? And now, instead of allowing myself to do that, if that starts to creep in, just the simple reminder to myself that life is a wave. Life is a wave. And as soon as I become aware of that, it's like my whole nervous system slows down and calms down. And then as soon as I become aware of that, then those hard, I'm going to kick myself when I'm down thoughts start to dissipate. And then it allows myself just to open up and accept whatever the situation is, because I know that I'm not following that wave all the way down anymore, but I'm allowing myself to be aware of what's happening around me and within me. And I'm allowing myself to be there, right? I'm giving my permission to myself to be there and to feel that, right? And as soon as that happens, then things seem to start to lighten up. Then the messages start to come in. The awarenesses start to come back. Everything starts to flow again. And I feel like that's a huge, huge lesson for everybody to realize that we need to stop giving our power away. We need to stop giving our power away and welcome the challenges. Right? And I just wanted to touch on that because of something that you had said before.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because I mean, it's.
Thank you, Mary, for your wisdom. I appreciate it.
Can I break in for just a second?
Oh, please.
Joan is big romantic, and I know you've done it before, but I'd love for someone to talk about how you guys met. That someone here got a spiritual message to save Anthony from himself. So I'd love if you'd tell that story.
Well,
Joan will love it.
That was like 16 years ago, coming up on 16 years ago, actually.
Wow.
And very, very early on, way before I was into spiritual or listening to signs or anything like that. But I worked at his uncle's facility, which was a bar at the time. And Tony was hanging out with one of the bartenders that me and the other bartenders knew weren't she wasn't the greatest person.
Mm-hmm.
And there was something, even though you and I did not really know each other that much at that point, there was something that guided me to go over to him and to get his attention. And it was very loud. The music was on. There was tons of people everywhere. And I just said, Tony, Tony, Tony. And we joke now that it was like the voice of God that came through thunderous, right? I just said, Anthony, like I had to scream over all the people and the music. And I just asked him to do me a favor and go to the store for me. And in that moment, I was guided because I didn't know why I was doing it. I just was guided to change the path. Little did I know I was changing the path of both of our lives at that moment. But that and neither one of us were in a situation in our lives where we were looking to find a partner at that point. And yeah, it was definitely divinely guided.
Absolutely.
And as soon as we met, we tried to deny it, like fight it, right? Because we both knew we didn't want to be in a relationship at that point. But that lasted a day and a half.
Yeah. I like your point of view. Mine's similar. What I would tell you is I was a regular. I was an emotionally broken, very hurt drunk. That's what I was. I was a different version than I am now. Many versions of me have died in order for me to be rebirthed to here. And that early version there, that was a guy that was in a lot of pain, a lot of fear. And he was just at a bar, his uncle's bar, getting drunk, looking for attention. That's what he was doing. And so he found the attention with a maybe not so savory human being. And he kind of knew that. But he didn't give a shit because he was drunk anyways. And so while he was communicating with this person, out of nowhere, I remember it still. It's happened again since then. There's been a few other times it's come through Mary. And I would say this is the voice of God or the voice of consciousness that comes through. Because that's what it was. It was a full bar. I was not paying attention to anything else except for this other lady. And I heard out of nowhere my full name, Anthony. And it rumbled from the heavens. And it jumped me out of my skin, you know. At this point, I was kind of shut off. I mean, I've been communicating with spirits since age 3. So it started very young for me, very early. But I went through a stage. I wasn't around people who I could be myself with or talk about those things or develop the gifts I had. It wasn't there yet. So I kind of suppressed all these things. But there was something in me. It was undeniable to me that I was being led. And I've been aware of that other times in my life. And I was really aware of that. And so then she asked me to go to the store for her. And I didn't hesitate. I was like, yeah, okay, I'll do that for you. And it was really interesting because at the time, Mary had this little Saab. It was like a Saab 9.3 convertible. And that, you know, I grew up in the ghetto, so like I didn't drive cars like this. So I was like, oh wow, this thing's fancy. I drive it over to the store. I can't get the keys out of the ignition because I don't know how to put it in neutral or get the keys. You had to actually depress something. There's a stick shift on the stick.
Put it in reverse on the stick shift.
And then depress that little ring so that way you can remove the keys. So I just left it in neutral and put it in park, and I just go in there.
To tell him that part.
It's raining too, so it's massive rains coming down. I go in. She asked me to go get a pack of cigarettes, which she didn't really smoke anyway. So it was all a lie. It was all just God working. So I go in there. I get it. It wastes all this time on purpose. Like it's perfect. Like all this time goes by because I'm trying to figure things out and everything. And even when I get back over to the bar, which is only a few blocks away, I'm still trying to figure out how to get the keys out of this car. It's raining. So when I go in and I ask her, I'm like, I don't know how to get the keys out of your car. She just laughs and she comes out and shows me. I'm like, yeah, I'm not that fancy. You know what I mean? And then so by that time, the other thing that I was giving my attention to had dissipated and went away. And that's kind of where it all began. Just like how she said, we tried to ignore each other, like and things like I had a very young child at the time. I was still living with her mother. There was things that were still like not worked out yet, but that was the thing. And that was the biggest change in my life. And what I can tell you is that was the creator, or I'm very comfortable using the word God in a non-religious idea.
Right.
I don't think of God as like this man on a cloud with a beard like me and, you know, judging everyone. That's not how it is for me. This is what I mean is the creative essence of all that is that none of us are separate from. We're all it. We're it experiencing itself. And I believe that from when you're in this human form, it's always trying to guide you. You just might not have the ears to hear. I have the ears to hear, and it showed up. And the reason why is because the way I grew up and the things I experienced up until that time, this was something completely different and new. Because what I always credit Mary with is teaching me what love is. Like I thought I knew. I thought I had some sort of idea, at least, I did have some sort of idea because my daughter was born, and that was something really new to me. But having like a partner that or someone that cares for you, the way she was caring, and the way I seen the way that she works and talks with other people and everything, and I was just kind of in awe. I was just kind of like, who is this? Like, you're somebody totally different that I can't even understand. I mean, and
mind you, let me back up for 1 second. Let me back up for 1 second, because since I was the age of 15, I worked in the automotive industry for my stepdad. He ran car dealerships, and I got in that business when I was 15. And when I graduated high school, that was never the plan, but I ended up staying in that business. And I would have still been in that business. But in 2009, when the economy started to tank, I got laid off for the first time because of consolidation for this giant company I worked for. And then I was laid off. And I went to visit my friend that worked at his uncle's bar. And she was just like, oh, well, Bob will pay you. And you can still collect your unemployment. And you can come and you can work here. And it'll be great. And I'm like, I don't know how to make people's drinks. Like, and it was literally, if I go back, I can look at every moment that aligned to get me there, because I was only there for a few months and then I was back in the car business. So it was very aligned. I mean, just so out of the ordinary for what my life was, right? And so it's very interesting to look back at all of that and how it all led to,
we were sent, obviously, it became very aware to us after a little while that like there was some sort of deeper connection, because for the first, it seemed like maybe year of our relationship, we spent so much time talking, remembering each other. Like, where have you, like, I know you from beyond here. Tell me about what's happened in this human life. And we were able to kind of really spend time and work there. And something that became really acutely aware to me later as I became connected into my path of shamanism, it talks about there's 3 levels to your being. And one of them is your physical being, the other one is your mental being, and the other one is your feeling and your heart being. So these are essentially called Yachai, Yankai, and Munai. And before Mary showed up, I was always very connected into my body. I've been a personal trainer for 25 years, and I've always been like really connected into my body, aware of health, aware of science and things of the body. And then I've always also been very connected into my mind. I've always been kind of the person that my friends would come to and ask me for advice about the ways that they think, and just looking for advice of things. I've always been kind of like a father to my friends in some sort of way. But what was always missing and disconnected from me was my heart, was my feeling, the most important of the 3. And we call that Munai in our tradition. And Munai means love and will combined, is what that is. And when Mary came and we came together, that's what I became aware of is that she had all this heart, but she was disconnected from her mind and her body. So we started to actually like kind of balance each other out. And we didn't really recognize it at the time, but as time goes on and still goes on, I'm aware that it's still happening. We're still balancing each other out. She evens out this energy within me that without her, it would be very much chaotic for me. So it's so I guess you're my good luck charm. Thanks.
oh, yeah.
Wow. Just listening, just listening to both of you, I can see it, and I know everybody who is watching can see that deep level of connection. There is a deep, deep level of connection, and it's the quiet power of love. It's that quiet power of love, And Anthony and Mary, thank you so much for sharing your story.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for asking the question, Tommy.
Yeah, listening to the story, it's resilience. That's the main word, resilience and rebirth. Because many times we look at situations, and when we look at these situations and the challenges that we're going through, not realizing that these are chapters of our lives that we need to go through in order to evolve, in order to grow. But because of the human condition, we don't see it that way. We see it as being so difficult, so hard. Why is this happening to me? I can't go through this. I cannot face this. And all of these questions start to come up in our minds because of the conditioning. We've been being conditioned that way, not realizing that we need these experiences, these challenges in order to evolve to a next chapter on a next phase of our lives. And we need these experiences in order to rebirth. Because these different phases, as Anthony rightfully said, is only rebirthing all the time. We are rebirthing. We are going into these different phases of our lives, And if let's look at a child, a child is born. And the child goes through different phases a child goes through, right? It's the same thing. We didn't just arrive just like this. We had to come through a birth canal before we get here, and we start to go through these different phases. We start to creep. We start to try to struggle to stand up. All of these are phases that we had to go through in order to evolve. But as I said, because of the human conditioning, we forget about the phases that we have to go through in life in order to evolve, And another thing that Anthony talked about is alignment. Many times in life, we need to go through these different phases of things in order to align with what our purpose or soul came here for. And sometimes we sidetrack and it shows up again. That is why many times when we try to run away from things, it shows up in something else. We got to face it head on and use all the modalities in our toolkit in order to face these challenges. And something that Mary said that was put together so beautifully, is that we need to come to that place of acceptance. When we are going through these challenges and these situations, we need to come to that place of acceptance and don't stop judging ourselves for these things that is happening in our lives. Because if we look at these situations and these experiences as a conduct to take us somewhere else, we understand exactly why these things are happening in our lives. But the only way we can come there, we have to be self-aware. We have to be at that place of self-awareness. We have to surrender to what is happening and understand whatever is happening at this point in time in our lives is only to guide us to the next phase of our lives. When we go through something, we will never be the same coming out back from that situation. It's totally different. Our mindset changes, our thoughts change. It's so many things happen within our lives when we go through something. And when we go through that phase of going through the situation or the challenges, there is where we get the resilience. Mm-hmm. There is where we find that strength. We harness that strength in those situations. And there is where the modalities come in. Because when you have these modalities as a foundation that you can stand on, you have that as your support. You know to yourself, you know what? Okay, I'm going through these challenges right now, whatever it is, I'm going through this. But you know what? I have these things that I can lean on. My breath work, my prayers, my yoga, my meditation, whatever it is. You have that as your foundation that you're standing on to support you. And once you have that support, that is the support that you need. And when you have a good partner and a good family, a good community who is vibing on that frequency together with you, that's also a good support system for you as well. Because many times we are going through different things in our lives and we don't have a supporting partner, or we don't have a supporting group or a supporting community who give us that support, that positive energy that we need when we are going through these situations, you know. And when we are going through these situations in our lives, there is where you really see the trueness of people. When you're going through these situations, there is where you can pinpoint and see who are really true to you and who you've just got to eliminate them with grace and just let them go, you know, and don't judge. Allow them to go with love and compassion. Do not judge. Lady J, take the mic.
Wow. Wow, wow, wow. There is so much that was discussed in this moment. And I'm so glad we're talking about this now. I'm so glad we're talking about it because a lot of people need to hear this, whether they looking at us or catching us on the live or on the replay, because it can resonate with it's resonate with all of us as human beings.
Yes.
We all will go through challenges at some point in time in our lives.
Mm-hmm.
Who do we have in our circle that is there with us? And I think you mentioned Lady K earlier in the opening, to stand by your side, to give you a level of hope, to hold your hand when there are low moments, the tears, the sadness, feel like giving up. You don't know what the next will be, but you have that whisper to say it's going to be okay. I'm here with you. I'm here to support you. We are one in this together. Whether it's your partnership, whether it's a family, whoever is it as a human being around you, who do you have with you? And then when you reach to the higher power, what are you holding on to? Whether for us is God, and then you, Auntie Mary, you are God. And whatever is it that you are reaching for, something higher than yourself, that you can hold on to into those moments.
Mm-hmm.
We experience those moments. We know those moments when there are times that you've been through something and you have to have something outside the human, physical, that you can
Mm-hmm.
hold on to, the level of inspiration that you can hold on to, that you could pull from, that can keep you centered and grounded when
Mm-hmm.
everything else is happening around you. And you can hold on to that. And Mary, I like when you spoke about tapping in, because we are stronger than we think.
Sure.
And when you're leaning into, you can tap into your inner wisdom, your inner self, that thing within you, because it's there. You just got to tap in and become one with that. And when you can tap in and be one with that, then you know that I am strong. I can overcome this with everything else around me, my God, my friends, my family, but me as a human being, I can tap into something and I can hold on to something that can give me that level of strength. And there is where the resilience, because then I can rise again. I can emerge from this moment. And when I emerge, I'm not emerging who I was, because I become something new,
Mm-hmm.
greater insight, new experience. I have rebirth, as Anthony used the word. I have rebirth because I have been transformed into
Mm-hmm.
something new. And so I like when you said that, Anthony, right, when you spoke about when people may come up to you, because it's a human thing, they might say, oh, I'm sorry this happened to you. I could understand that exactly what that is, but then I can also understand, no, I've been given a gift because I'm able to transcend forward. I become something new that I can share on a deeper level to the world because I have been rebirthed. I'm stronger. I got greater insight. I got new perspective because I've been through something. and I'm strong and I have the authority to speak on that because I am empowered in the moment.
Mhm.
And when you have someone, Anthony, like someone beautiful and amazing as Mary, standing by your side, going through the experience, healing, the wisdom, and the understanding, and somebody, and there is where the alignment is because you both are aligned.
Mhm.
So it's funny that when you can look back, because life, looking back in the reverse always makes sense, because when you review all of that, then you say, okay, I understand why this really had to happen,
Mhm.
because everything happened in the past has aligned both of you together to reach in that level of moment that you experience something so big and so, well, transformative, I should say. But both of you, it happened because this moment had to happen, and you will continue to evolve together.
Mhm.
That you can sit in this space tonight and share partnership, wisdom, healing, a level of understanding, and holding become oneness with each other. And Mary, I like when you spoke about don't victimize yourself.
Sure.
And I want people to understand that you what you said was so powerful because you're not a victim. And you chose Mary in the moment. You look at your awareness. What am I
Mhm.
thinking in this moment? What am I thinking? Who am I? And you both are experiencing something so beautiful because you both are evolving and has evolved and continue to move forward with a new level of experience. And now you can come and share with us, share with the world what resilience is. Because when you've been through something, you really got to be strong to anchor. Because when you come through something, it's how you choose to look at it. And
Sure.
as Anthony said, it's neither good or bad, it's how you choose to look at it.
Yes.
How you choose to look at it. And Anthony, when you describe different level of energies, what are we embracing? Yes, you were in a hospital, you went through something, but then now you know that you sharing with us now that you can merge both the health aspect and the science aspect, because healing comes from so many different places. And when you can understand something on a higher and a deeper level, you understand something that we all would go through something, but how strong are we and the life we lived before something happened that can anchor you, that can hold you strong, and that you can elevate when you come through.
Joan, when you say strong, it just shot me back to um, it was when we were in the emergency room after so many hours of not knowing what was happening, and then all of a sudden when we found out what was happening, everything went into panic mode. Everybody was panicked in the room, even though they were trying to keep their cool, but we could read them very much, and everybody was panicked. And it I mean, I obviously had a very deep emotional release, but then there was something so much higher and more powerful than me
Oh,
that came in that moment. And just, it was like a giant metal castle door that just came down, and just the whole world, the whole world stopped around me. But it put me in a space where I was able to just be the most present I've ever been in my life for, however many days, but especially overnight through his surgery. But I was just so present. I couldn't think of anything of like what was happening in surgery or what life going to look like afterwards or how we're going to handle this. It was just this ever knowing presence that was with me that took me into all I have is right in this moment. And I have been in places where I have been very present in meditations, especially out in nature, which is my favorite. But this was something so much different. It was just so different. It was so much more powerful. And I've always been connected to nature. And when our tradition, our Peruvian tradition, came into our lives, it drew me to it immediately, because there was no, you have to follow this person or worship this person or do this specific thing this way, otherwise you're going to be judged. It was just, we're all one living nature and energy. And so for me, that drew me so close. But I will tell you, in those days after his surgery, being able to go home and immediately just grab the dog and go out into nature, I truly found God in those days. Like, truly. And I don't know if people saw Tommy's comment about aortic dissections, as Anthony had. It wasn't just a normal dissection. It was dissected fully down into both of his legs. And the doctor made me very aware in the emergency room before they sent him on a life flight down to the main campus that he didn't expect him to even maybe make it through the life flight. That it's less than 1% that he was going to survive. And I just don't think, because people look at him as being such a strong energy and physically looks strong. I mean, you would never know. You would never know. But knowing what his body went through and what he survived is just incredible. And when we were in the hospital through ICU and then ICU step down, when people would come in the room, I mean, certain nurses, there were so many beautiful people that were put in our paths while we were there, and they would read what had happened, and they just couldn't believe it, especially once he was in step down. They just couldn't believe. Even now, his doctors, when we go to see doctors, the doctors are looking at his file, and then they look at him and they're like, it's to the regular mind that would understand medically what he has been through. People are completely shocked that he's here. And to watch, my mom was with me the whole time, and to watch these nurses and these doctors come in his room, and they're just stunned. You can just read it on them, and some would just share it with us straight out. And it was to get that continuously brought into our energy of how stunned people were to see him alive. It's just a true blessing. It is. And I remember him telling me, God has something so much bigger planned for me. And knowing in those moments when the world just was shut down around me. Like there was nothing. There was nothing. I didn't worry about anything. I didn't care about anything that was happening or what was going to happen. And I just knew in those moments that our life was going to be completely different moving forward. And it really challenged me in a way to be able to be okay with stepping back into that emotion and trauma from the experience that was shut down so abruptly in that moment, in that emergency room. And it, like, it's coming up right now. It came up the last time we went to see his heart surgeon. It's just,
It is a lot. Yeah. So, like, even when you're talking about the emergency room, it was a lot different for me, even though it was kind of happening to me.
Yeah, he's over here laying in bed like, hey, take a picture of me. And my mom's like, is he asking you to take a picture of him? And he's like, I just want to thank everyone for taking good care of me. And like,
everyone was so afraid when I was in there. Everybody was so afraid I was going to die. But I can tell you this, my life's force is extremely powerful. And I knew I wasn't close to my death. I wasn't going to die. Not that day anyways. That's not what was going to happen. So I knew there was something going on. I was aware after I was sitting in the emergency room for a few hours what it was. I knew it was my aorta. And I said to my attending physician, I said, I think you guys need to check my aorta.
Multiple times.
He kind of looks at the other doctor and they kind of look at each other. And, you know, I'm reading them and they're like laughing at me. Like, how does this bald-headed, bearded weirdo know what is going on in his body? You know, I'm not in a position to explain to them, well, I'm a shamanic priest and I have a really strong connection to my inner body. I can actually hear my eyes move. I was just talking to someone recently. I can hear my eyes move in my head. That's how much connection I have into my body. And, you know, I thought this was normal, but it's not normal. Most people can't hear their eyes.
Can I break in and point something out
here?
Since I've known you guys for a while and I know your practice. I just want to share one thing when he talks about a shamanic practice. And also, I got a chance to meet Mary and Anthony in person at an event they held. And they were doing different things with vibration, frequency, and different healing tones and everything. And I had congestive heart failure the year before, and I just wasn't right. And the doctor says, you're doing fine. Anthony put his hand on my chest and he just started shaking, you know. And later he told me there's something in the back of your heart. Guess what? A month later, I can feel chills running through me now. They put a stent in exactly where he said that was. The Widowmaker was 90% blocked. And I just went back and I checked on it last month and they said, we're not going to do anything to you. You're doing okay. Yeah, I mean, you've got a weak heart and you've done bad things, but, you know, you're going to be all right. But what I want to point out, and they've kind of glossed over it, this guy was a beast. He was in the gym. I mean, he was about twice as wide as I am, and we're about the same height, you know. I mean, he was in the gym working out like a maniac. I mean, when he decides he's going to work out, man, he knows what he's doing. But he also does breath work, 3, 4, 5 times a day. You've got a discipline of meditation and breath work. He didn't survive by an accident or some nebulous little bullshit. He survived because he puts the work in. And this ancient technology that both of them live in their daily lives is what took him through. He's a beast. And I've got a stepson and 2 buddies that are registered EMTs and past Army medics. And apparently they've seen him and trained for this. He said, you know, the 1% that survive, you know, they're lucky to make it to the hospital. What was it, 7 hours before they actually went into you?
Mm-hmm. Like,
So the spiritual practice, this ancient technology is talking about, is for healing and diagnosing other people, and that's what kept them alive.
I mean, he was calm as a cucumber when we got in that emergency room. And even though he had internal bleeding, they go off of, okay, so he seems calm. His pain level's at a 3 from what he says, which I kindly pointed out to the nurse that
Right.
a 7 or an 8 for most people.
Yeah.
And, I know they're not going, because people self-diagnose through Google and all the things, and I know that they have to go through their steps. But he was laying there so calm through all of those hours. And when they did find out what was happening, the one nurse told him, listen, whatever you've been doing, keep doing it because it's working. Like, he was just laying there, and he would tell them, like, I think you should check my aorta, but like, he was calm. And the nurse told him anyone else would be screaming in pain. And he was the total opposite. And it was from the way he was calming his nervous system, the way he was, plus he was out of the pain that originally started the episode. So that was a huge thing too. But
it's like Tommy said, it's like, for me, my awareness is I've trained for this, is what's happened. Like, all things that happen in my life are on purpose. Every single thing that happens leads to the next thing. That's what it's for. So I'm fully aware that, I probably wouldn't have survived if I wasn't in good shape and ready to do the things because I've gained a lot of my muscle and weight back. I lost like 40 pounds within like 2 weeks. Because your body, once you crack open that chest and you open everything up, your body shifts into a mode of pure healing. That's what I put it into. And the weeks following, while I was home, every day, that's what I was focused on. It was on healing the inner parts of my body. And I could feel it, taking all the calories, taking all the information, energy, frequency, muscle of my body, and started using that muscle that I took the time to build to begin to help me rebuild the inner parts of my being, inner parts of my body. And I started to recover, and it started to happen really quick. I got to tell you, the first few weeks after you come back, you're not sure if you're going to wake up every day because, your sternum's been sawed in half. Your body feels weird. There's all kinds of little pains. I'm parts of lots of groups now online with people that have had open heart surgery. And from what I've seen, I'm doing a lot better than most people that even have survived something close to what I've been through. And so, that is what it's all about. I think that's why I've been given this connection into this ancient human technology and like I said at the beginning, I like to use it on myself. I don't like to just talk about it. I want to be about it. I want to show you what's possible. And that's how the whole breathing thing started from me, because that's the other thing. This isn't my first time. I've overcome stage 3 lung disease, which I would tell you is harder than this. This seems really hard, but I got to tell you, from 2011 to 2018, I slowly was suffocating to death, with the medical field telling me that there is no way for you to heal or recover. Same thing with my osteoarthritis in my hips. I had a hard time walking most days and getting around. And that's what I was told is, this is degenerative disease. It can't get better. And now it's not even part of my chart. It's not even on my chart anymore because it doesn't exist in my reality, in this version of me that's been reborn. So I know that anything's possible. It's not anything's possible because of what happened with your and I's interactions. Those things. That's not just me. That's you too. That's us together being connected into source is what that is. That's what that's all about. That's what drives me to do the things I do, to create like this beautiful community we have now where we meet every Sunday, Light Club. That's something I created some time back, but I was really called after all of this as I slowly began to recover. That's what was really being driven into me. Is like, I want you to really focus and bring together community. Bring together community beyond any worries, because before all this, it was a little bit different. I was trying to create a wellness business. I was so focused on if it was going to work, if there was enough income, all these other things that they're not part of what my mission is. That's not my mission. My mission isn't to worry. That's what it's not about. My
Sure.
mission is to develop the internal human intelligence, that divine intelligence within me, and through that, share that into the collective. That's my drive. That's what puts me in the position I want to do. That's what kept me alive in that hospital when everybody was sitting there and so terrified. They were so terrified. I'm not
Right.
kidding. I've never been in a room full of people. There were 12 medical professionals in this room, and you and your mom, and everybody was so afraid. And all I could do was smile and try to calm them down. Be like, hey, I just want to thank you all so much for helping me. And I just want you to know that everything's going to be okay. And they were just kind of looking at me like they don't know how to respond. They're like, I don't know what to do. Like, it's going to be okay. It's going to be all right. And I proceeded from there. From that place, I got loaded onto what, it's a life flight. But for me, it was a very deep spiritual experience. I was loaded onto this giant bird. That's what it was like for me. It's like I was boarded onto this giant bird. And while I was on this giant bird, two of my primary spirit guides were right with me on this ride, on this bird. These two primary guides I've been working with for so long, they're with me, and I get whisked off into the night on this bird, on this big bird. It was made of fire and light. It was so beautiful. And next thing I know, I'm getting wheeled. Do not pass go, do not collect $200. You go right into the operating room. And I got wheeled into an operating room, and I'll never forget laying underneath the surgical light and looking at its brilliance. And I could just see through it, and I could tell I was in like outer space of some sort. And then I got to meet my surgeon. She came in. She was upside down looking at me on the bed. Like, very happy, chipper woman. I want to give credit to her. She's a great surgeon. Her name's Zhao Ying Lu of the Cleveland Clinic. And she's the one that came in and told me it was going to happen. We're going to do the surgery. She didn't seem afraid or anything. I was the first person I met that didn't seem to have any fear. This person that was going to crack me in half and put her tiny hands in me. And so the next step was the anesthesiologist came over. He asked me, have you had anesthesia before? I said, yeah. He's like, good. Then you know what's going to happen next, right? He's like, yeah. He's like, I was like, you want me to count? He's like, yeah, start counting backwards from 20. I barely hit 17. And then my consciousness and my body left, and I popped out of the top of my head. I came right out of my head into the room. And that was the first time, besides like astral travel and meditation, that I had an out-of-body experience. This one I had no control over. I didn't try to make it happen or go into any intention for it to happen. That's what happened. I came out of my body. I got to swim around the room. I could feel the ceiling on my back while I was hovering over everyone. There's a team of people rustling around in this room, setting up all these tools and all these tubes and getting everything ready. And I look over, and I'm just like, basically the body of me is just unconscious, just laying there. He's still got clothes on and everything's running around. From there, I was able to, the story just went beautifully. I kind of was able to leave the room, and then I took the form of a bird. And as I was flying as a bird, I was like over an island. What I believe now might be Maui. I was flying along this coastline, and the ocean's coming in and leaving out. I could feel the wind and the breeze. I could see the volcanic mountains and all the greenery off to my left. And then I think when they moved me from one table, because they moved me 2 times. When I first got in there, they were like, okay, we're going to have to move you. I was like, that's okay. I can jump right onto that table for you. And they were looking at each other like, really? I'm like, yeah. And I just jumped over onto the other table but before they put me down into the anesthesia. But they ended up moving me again. And anytime they'd move my body, it would pull on my tether. Anybody who's familiar with astral travel, you'll become aware that when you're out of your body, there's a tether. And what this generally shows up for most people, including myself, is kind of a silver cord that connects at your umbilicus. This is your connection between your astral body and your physical body. And when the body's disturbed, often that will bring you back to your body, back to the awareness of your body. What it would do is bring me back into the operating room. So I get to see stages of my own operation. I didn't get to see them cut me. I didn't see any of that, but I did get to see my own chest open. My lungs deflated, moved out of the way. My esophagus moved and pinned. I could see how her hands were inside of me, all these other things and tubes and the bypass machine and everything kind of running. I sat back and I was looking at her face, and I could see the pores of just a little bit of skin that was sticking out around her mask, her operation mask. I could see the reflection of my body on outer parts of her glasses. She was wearing these glasses with these big, like, focal lenses that protruded off of them. And I could see off her face, off her glasses, inside my own chest. And I remember just being so blown away that how deep inside your body your heart is. Because, like, in this mental picture, like, you feel your heartbeat, it feels like it's just here, just behind your breastbone, but it's closer to your spine than it is your front. And I found it just so strange because I'm open, my arms are wide, and when they open your chest, it grows, it's even bigger. And just seeing how far in my heart was and watching her work on it. And then I kind of just float out again, go out into somewhere else, float around, come back. This happened back and forth. The surgery was about 7 hours. The craziest part of the surgery is this didn't even exist in the reality I came from. I didn't know you could arrest someone's circulation for an hour and they don't die or have severe damage. But this is the case in this world in which I live. What they did is they used the heart and lung machine to cool my blood down to about 60 degrees Fahrenheit, which puts you in deep hypothermia. So this helps protect tissues in the brain. And what they had to do is create a bloodless environment. So they arrested all circulation for 62 minutes. And when the circulation arrest happened, I moved into a different phase. I moved from, because, you know, there's different layers of your energy field. There's this part of you that's your physical idea of a body. Then you have like this energy body. We call it Pokpo in our tradition, this energy field, this field of living energy. And this also contains your luminous body, or what we're called like your astral body. And then there's layers beyond that. And then you get to like your final outer layer. This is spirit. You're moving deep into spirit. That's why I tried to explain there's actually a deep difference between the psychic space and the spirit space. They're two different totally energetic realms. And when you move out into that spirit space, what happened was I just got sucked right out into space. When I say I don't mean this guy. Whatever I am beyond this is what became the space. When it was there was no more awareness of hospitals or a body or an identity or any of those things. All there was stillness, complete soft stillness and stars. That's all there was. There was no breath. There was nothing. There was just nothing where that was there. But it was so calming and familiar and just absolutely beautiful. And I could feel the loving radiance of whatever this was. I could just sense it. And, you know, in those spaces, time disappears because time only exists. That's why we choose to be in this human form, because in this human form, we get to observe two things you can't observe otherwise. And that's time and space, which are both actually illusions, because all time is now and all space is here. It's right here. But you get to experience those things when it's slowed down. What happens is when everything opens, you're experiencing it from its bigger macrocosm, its bigger self. My next awareness, though, so time out there, if I had to tell you how long did that last? In the physical world, you come back here, it was 62 minutes. I was without flow. In that world, I would tell you, I can't tell you for sure, but I would say somewhere around 3,000 years. So for me, it's like I left a body, an old version. The guy Tommy was talking about, that strapping man that could just pick something up and carry it. The is who I was, the was of who I was, and then started to be born into the isness. And as that started to happen, my next awareness is I can hear her whispering. There's whispering happening somewhere way off in space. And I could feel this kind of pull, and I started to become more and more aware again of my being, of this self, this thing that I perceive as a human. It started to get closer and closer and closer. And as it came in, I started to become aware of my body and things around, and I could hear her whispering. And when she's talking to me in my ear, she's just telling me where I'm at, what's happened, and she's telling me to focus on my breath. The funny part is this is something in the hospital they never let happen. They don't let anyone see. I was still intubated, all these things. They don't let people see that stuff, but she got to see that stuff. And what they did is they asked her, hey, could you help us? Do you think, because they don't know anything about my history, my past, or who I am beyond this body laying on this table. They asked her this amazing question. They say, do you think you could be able to guide him into paying attention to his breath?
Yeah, and his nurse, when we first came into the critical ICU, it was amazing because his nurse was an amazing young man. And not only was he, if anyone's ever been familiar with being in a room with someone that's hooked up to machines or is even just on whatever the case is, the nurses come in, they say very little, I've never seen so much machinery in one room. He was hooked up to so many things. But this day, his nurse happened to be training another nurse. So as my mom and I are sitting in the room, he's talking out loud about what they're doing, what it is, what they're about to do. So I'm getting all this information instead of just sitting there unaware of what's going on.
Huh.
And then he says, we're going to start to take, the intubation, the tube out of his throat, and we'll probably ask you to leave the room and this and that. And he's like, he'll have to focus really closely on his breathing. And then I just was like, well, and I explained to him how, aware of his breathing he is. And the gentleman actually let me stay there with him until they were really like at the moment that they were going to pull it out. And then he looked at me and my mom and said, okay, you guys might want to just step out for this, but like, it was incredible because I'm just in his ear whispering, like the quiet whisper of telling him where he's at, that he's okay, and the nurse is over there on the other side of him screaming in his ear, trying to get him, like screaming. Mm-hmm. Trying to get him to respond physically, so that he can decide on how close he is to coming back into his body, and he said he didn't hear the nurse.
It was like, even though I could sense, I said, it sounded like some guy was far off and yelling, and I could hear you whispering right next to me.
Yeah.
So I could sense all that. I could feel all that. I don't have much memory of being disintubated. I was really drugged up, and my next kind of awarenesses are of just kind of being in this hospital bed in the hospital, and I'm like, wow, I'm alive. Isn't that amazing? I have all these tubes and stuff in my chest and in my belly, and I'm just like, wow. And I look down and like, wow, that's a big scar, like all the way from my clavicles all the way to the bottom of my breastbone, and I'm like, wow, that's really amazing. It's really something that now I've kind of been through that. And then the rest was just kind of little by little, like I started to come off the drugs and everything. They had me on fentanyl. I decided I didn't want that anymore. And as I came off of that, my mind started to become more clear. And then, the nurses, I had lots of amazing nurses. Some of them were very spiritually awakened beings that I would have really intense conversations with. They would go and tell the other nurses that were awakened. They'd all come in and visit me. I had one nurse who had severe back pain. I facilitated a sneaky healing on her. Took her back. Anyway, and she came in the next night and she yelled at me. She's like, you need to keep all your energy for yourself. I know what you did. I haven't slept this good in 16 years, buddy.
Oh yeah. She was very grateful,
but mad at me too.
But she was like, you need to focus your energy on yourself. But yeah, and she was a very almost what people would explain as kind of like rough around the edges and maybe not so welcoming of a person, but she was totally transformed right in front of our eyes.
Wow. She's just misunderstood.
Yeah.
I love to take the time to understand people. I love to take the time to, the things that people may consider like misfits or something like that. I find these to be the most wonderful and amazing people. I really do. I love to work with people. I love to work with kids and stuff that have this, diagnosis of autism or something like that. That's not how my soul sees things. It doesn't see diagnoses. I just see neurodivergence, and what I see is gifts. I see gifts within these people that haven't been opened yet. And that goes with everything. It goes with people with severe anxiety, symptoms. Symptoms are just messengers. And what the messengers are primarily telling people, this is the thing that's wildly overlooked, okay? Everybody, even in holistic communities, are looking for, what do you take for this? What do you do for this? What do you take for this? And I always point, there's three primary things. If you're not doing these three primary things, it doesn't matter what you supplement or take or eat or do, it's not going to matter. Three primary things. The first one is diet. And diet isn't just food. That's not just what you eat. That's not just what you're taking into your mouth.
True.
What are you putting into your mind? Are you flooding
True.
the
True.
news?
Say that again.
Flooding your mind with politics?
Mhm.
Flooding your mind with fear? What are you intaking into your life, into your body? Diet. Because most people are like, well, diet, that's food. No, it's much more than food. You have to go into it. The next step, the three primary pillars is diet. The next one is lifestyle. What are you doing? Are you taking time? Are you going out into nature? Are you grounding? Are you even paying attention to how you breathe? Your breathing is your primary source. Are you even paying attention to it? What's your lifestyle like? Do you exercise?
Right.
How hard are you working? Are you taking time to balance yourself? Are you doing things? As we were talking earlier, modalities. There's no wrong way. I encourage people to find everything that appeals to you. Try it. Because what it's going to do is build the primary thing that all of this does is your nervous system. The third thing, so you have your diet, you have your lifestyle. The third thing is mindset. How does your mind
That's
operate?
a big one.
How are you paying attention? How are you processing information in your reality? Are you a victim? Are you sad? Are you upset? Do you feel this way or that way? How is that? How's your mindset? What are you thinking about? What is your mind mostly preconceived, connected to all the time? And these are the three things that are so overlooked, because what these three things do, if you learn to master your diet, your lifestyle, and your mindset, the result is you begin to have a regulated nervous system. Your regulated nervous system is heaven. Heaven happens within your regulated nervous system.
Yes.
You can't regulate your nervous system with berries or supplements or anything else. That's not how it's going to happen. It's only going to happen from one place. That's inside you. That's the only place it's going to happen.
In a year.
Now, can you add on to those things through supplementation and other things? Yes, of course you can. But if you don't do that first, it's just like you can't out heal a shitty diet. You can't. You can't outthink a crappy mindset.
Sure.
Your body can't survive a crappy lifestyle. It's not going to happen. And if you're not looking at those three things first, and if you're going somewhere and you're working with a practitioner and they're not having you look at those three things first, you're vastly shortchanging yourself, because that's the thing. The problem is for most practitioners, there's not a lot to sell there. I can't sell you a mindset. I can't sell you a lifestyle, and I can't sell you your diet.
Sure.
Not really. I really can't. That has to be something that you can find you have to find and open up within yourself.
And choose for yourself.
But that's what it all comes down to. And this is the reason why Spirit taught me in the beginning. I didn't know. I was just some guy with lung disease when I first started learning how to breathe. All I knew is something fell. I felt something. Even though I couldn't really breathe at all, I was struggling to breathe. I felt something. There was something happening. There was something that was happening inside my body, and something I just could not understand until I went further down the line. As I went further down the line, what happened was my nervous system began to reorganize itself. Everything started to reorganize itself, and then that started to change things. It started to change my consciousness. Your consciousness drives your want to change those three things I talked about. You don't want a better diet if you're not consciously aware that you want to change. You're not going to want a better lifestyle if you're not consciously aware you want to change. You're not going to choose a better mindset if you're not consciously aware you want to change. So at the bottom and base of all things is beginning awareness. How does awareness open? Your awareness begins to open through your breathing, through respiration. Through your respiration, through your ability to take air into your lungs, into your body, what happens is a cascade of events and effects. And when you use that diaphragm properly, you begin to stimulate your physiology. You're moving blood, lymph, cerebral spinal fluid, interstitial fluid. All the fluids and energies of the body begin to move through your diaphragm. You're oxygenating your cells. And on a deeper level, we're able to start to measure this now. It begins to expand your aura. It begins to expand your electromagnetic field that's being generated by the vortex, which is your heart. That begins to open and expand. As this opens and expands, you're now open to receive. You're now open to receive your consciousness, the thing that's outside of your incessant thinking mind that thinks it has a name and a sex and a gender and a life and all these things it thinks about. It thinks it has a life, but you don't have a life. You are life. That's
Right.
exactly what you are. You are that life. And through your respiration, through your breathing, this is how you begin. And that's why I always say your breath is your direct connection to God. Because although you can't see it, you can't see your air, you can't see your breath, but there's no doubt about you feel it. When you fill up your belly, your chest, and your head in this big flowing kind of river of inhale, there's something about that that's undeniable. And one of my favorite things just to help people to begin to step into their consciousness is something I call the 3 conscious breaths. Just 3 conscious breaths. Can you take time several times during the day to be able to become aware of your breath? And what you're going to do is take 3 conscious breaths. You're going to breathe in through your nose. You're going to fill up your belly, your chest, your head, and let out a long sigh. Just one's enough for me, but you get 3 of those. You can feel the life. I can feel the life force within me begin to expand. Just those 3 conscious breaths. I call it kind of like the law of 3 conscious breaths, because people get really confused. They're like, well, breath work, that's something you got to like sit down and you got to like, really go for it. Sometimes, that's priming you. That's just like meditation. I think we kind of touched on that earlier. Meditation trains your nervous system. The goal is to be able to try to keep that stillness when trouble in life shows up.
Right.
When you're in the emergency room and everyone's shitting their pants because they're sure you're going to die, can you maintain yourself? That is the test. That's where it comes down to. Your breath's the same way. You want to sit down. You want to oxygenate your body. You want to push yourself, get those lungs moving, everything, because this benefits your nervous system. It's teaching your body how to flow information and energy. But deeper than that, it's just becoming aware of your breath. Can you become aware of your breath while you're cooking? Can you become aware of your breath while you're just walking across the floor? Can you become aware of your breath when you know your mind's being taken away? When your awareness, when that consciousness hits, when your consciousness comes in, it's like, I don't really like the state I'm in. Okay, well, what's the first thing? That's your awareness. The second step is your breath. You become aware of your respiration. That's your first tool. From there, now you can start making new decisions, new ways of being.
And you don't even have to be like in a place of anger or stress or anything.
Right.
People don't even realize how often we're holding our breath. We're busy, our mind's busy doing work or trying to get things done and moving from this place to that place, and kids, got to go there, and I got to do this, and I got to go to the grocery store, and I got to do this. Like, there's so much happening. We don't even realize that we're holding our breath.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, even if you are in a moment, any time during your day, if you can just bring your awareness to take those couple breaths, the whole thing shifts.
Mm-hmm.
If you're overthinking something because you're trying to come up with something at work, and if you just slow yourself down for a couple minutes, everything resets, right? I don't know how often, I know for myself, how often I've been stuck at work before, and I just have made the decision to step away from what I'm struggling with.
Yes.
Right? And then come back to it, and then all starts to flow. Using your breath in those moments is huge. Like, it is such an instant reset.
Mm-hmm.
Can I make a suggestion here? I pop back in. Could you lead just a few minutes, either one of you, a little bit of breath work to show what you're talking about?
Absolutely. I would love to.
That'd be great. Sorry to break in there, ladies.
No, that's okay.
Yeah, it's getting close to 9 o'clock. That's like time for one of my practices. That's usually when I kind of find one of my practices. So I'll just kind of take you through like just a few minutes of practice, like something that I do in the evening. I like to do. So what I do is usually I do this in my lazy boy, but you can do it anywhere. You can do it right where you're sitting. So wherever it is you're sitting, what I want you to do is I just want you to set the intention. I'm going to relax into where I'm sitting, because your intention drives your energy. I'm just going to relax. And I want you just to close your eyes. And as you close your eyes, I want you to bring your attention and awareness to your breath. You're not doing anything with it. You're just allowing yourself to experience the inflow and outflow of your oxygen, of your air. You want to begin to focus and allow it to come in through your nose and out through your nose. If you have a hard time breathing through your nose, breathe in and out through your mouth. The nose is a better choice, but the mouth works. And you're just going to begin to extend your breathing. You're going to make your inhale longer and your exhale longer. And your inhale longer and your exhale longer. I like to hum a little. You're breathing in and releasing. Being sure to fill up your belly and your chest on your inhale and suck into your belly a little on your exhale. The breath becomes circular. Just a few more like this. You're oxygenating your body and your cells. 2 more. And 1 more. I want you now just to relax. Let your breath go soft. I want you just to bring all of the attention into your body. I want you to first bring your attention to your hands and your fingers. You don't need to move them or see them. You know they're there because you can feel them. Bring your attention to the sensation of your palms, your fingers, your hands. And if you become really, really closely aware and bring your attention, you can begin to feel your pulse in your fingernails and in your fingertips. You're now within your body. You're awake and alive within your body. And now what we're going to do is we're going to begin to move energy in and out through our body. So the next step now is what we're going to do is we're going to use our powerful minds. We're going to use our ability to visualize or imagine. And what I want you to imagine is right now there's a large amount of light or a bubble of light that begins to form around you. It begins to surround you as if you're in this beautiful bubble of beautiful light. It can be any color or shape or feeling or vibration. If you have a hard time visualizing, just allow yourself to sense as if you were surrounded by light. As you create this idea, as you create this reality, you're setting your intention. As you set your intention, you're beginning to shift the way the frequency of the field is working around you. We're now going to begin to invite this light to come into us. And what I mean is you're going to have the sensation or sense as if you could open up every pore of your skin, every tiny little pore of your skin, and every little pore of your skin, this beautiful energy begins to trickle in. It's very soft, it's very comforting and gentle. And you can go ahead, and what I always encourage people to do is through this light, you're going to invite your highest power, whatever that may be. Whether you call it God or Buddha or Krishna or the universe or the Akasha or the all that is, or whatever it is that you may have a definition or a word or a mental construct of what the highest power is, what the divine intelligence of the universe is, you're inviting it to make contact with you through this light. Invitation. You're opening yourself, you're inviting to you this energy and power, which is already yours. It's always been there, but now you're opening yourself to receive. As you open yourself to receive, you're going to begin to become aware of your breathing again. And on your inhales, you're going to draw in through every part of your skin light. And as you exhale, you're going to let go from you anything that feels heavy, stuck, stagnant, or misaligned. You're going to let all of your air out right now. And you're going to breathe in through your nose and fill up your entire body. Hold it for a moment. And now through pursed lips, you're going to blow out. That's it. And then you're going to breathe in again. Fill up with light. Hold it. Taste the energy. Taste the divine light and blow it away. I release all that is not in alignment. I take in alignment, coherence, and light. I release anything that's heavy. Just a few more. Fill up. Hold it. Send it. You're in flow. 3 more big breaths. Breathe. 2 more. Last one. Fill up big as you can. And blow it away. And just relax for a moment. You just want to pay attention to your state. You're shifting your consciousness. You're actually shifting the frequency in which your cells and your energy field are interacting with the field around you. The last part of my evening practice, after I do my activation, after I do a little bit of energy connection and cleansing, I like to move myself into the space of manifestation. All of us are seeking something in life. What I want you to do is just take a moment right now before we continue, and I want you to think about what it is you want out of life. What is it that you would like to experience? What is it that you would like to see in a future version? Allow yourself to use your mind's eye, your disciplined imagination. And this takes practice. If you can't get it right away, it's okay. You just do the best you can. You're creating a mental idea with your mind of who it is that you want to be. And as you go further into this, I want you to picture yourself, your future self, your greatest self, whoever that is, whoever he or she is. I want you to make a mental picture. Who are you in this future version? How do you look? How's your health? How do you feel? Are you radiant? Are you loving? See the beauty that is capable and available for you. This is you tapping into what I talked about earlier, that unmanifested light. It does exist. Your ability to imagine it is your connection into the unmanifested light. Connecting with it makes you have the ability to manifest it. But first, you must be able to visualize, to use that beautiful imaginative mind to create the idea, to create that version of you in your mind, who you want to be. As you become comfortable with that, with the vision of who you want to be, this is where you become an alchemist. You take that energy that's in your mind, that picture of your greatest possible outcome, your future self, what you want in life. And what you're going to do is you're going to take that energy from your mind and you're going to pull it down. As if you're taking an elevator. You're taking the mental energy and you're going to bring it into the attention of your emotional energy, of the feeling inside of you. What does it feel like to experience this thing you wish to experience? What does it feel like to be that future version of yourself? During this exercise, you can take some time, you can toggle back and forth. You can revisit, you can come back up to the head and to the mind. You can come back into the mental energy. You can again look around, take in the information and then pull it down into your belly, into your heart. This is embodiment. In this moment, you're beginning to embody that energy of your manifested self, of this manifested potential reality. But in this moment, you now want to begin to leave behind the mental picture, for the mental picture is not what's important. What's important is the feeling. You want to bring this feeling, whatever this feeling is, into you. And now, as you've embodied that energy, you're going to use your intention to begin to spread that energy. Or the last part of this is radiance. You're first going to radiate it from your gut out to your extremities, out to your hands, out to your feet. And don't be afraid to use your mind's eye. You're just using your intention to create this potential and possibility. And you're sending that energy out all the way to the surface of your skin. And as you're using that idea of embodiment, you can begin to become aware of your breath. You can feel your breath. You can breathe in the potential and possibility. And then you can alchemize and extend that into your body as you exhale. This goes out into your arms and legs, your back, your shoulders. And you breathe in, you take in the information and energy. And you embody and expand it into your body. You're making these breaths long. They're about 3 to 5 seconds in and 3 to 5 seconds out. Spreading it all over your body. Spread it all over. 2 more. And once more. This is where I usually like to have my hands open. And what I'm doing now is I'm setting myself up to become radiance itself. Now that my body has embodied this frequency, this vibration, what I picture myself is like ripples in a pond, or like a rung bell that vibrates with resonance, or a tuning fork. The vibration begins to leave my body and I begin to send it out through my energy field into the world around me. And this begins to touch everything around me. It begins to connect with the living energy that is me and is you. And what we're going to do is we're going to use our breath and we're going to become radiance. I'm going to use my intention. I'm going to breathe in and fill myself up with the light of potential and possibility. Big and full. I'm going to blow out forcefully and send that energy out. I radiate and I send it. I am radiant. I breathe in, I absorb. Absorb energy and I radiate. We're going to do 3 more, 5 breaths. In. Radiate. In. Radiate. Last one, big as you can. And radiate. And relax. Let your breath relax. Let your body relax. Take a moment just to sit here in this vibrational form in which you've achieved. When you're doing your home practice, you can spend as much time as you want. Often, this is how I open my nighttime meditation. This can last as long or as short as I care for it to be. That's up to you. We're going to make this just a little bit shorter. And what we do to finish up is I begin the gratitude practice. I start my day. We talked about practices. How do you start your day? How do you end your day? What I would always recommend to my clients and students is the ability to connect with gratitude. And it kind of works the same way. If you're going to practice your gratitude, you're doing it the same way. Start with the mental idea. What are you grateful for? What are the concepts, the people, the ideas that you're grateful for? And as you let that happen, you're bringing the attention beyond the mental and into the physical feeling, into that energetic feeling that's inside of you. Into how does gratitude live in my body? And as I do that, I'm doing the same exercise essentially. I'm sending that gratitude. I'm giving gratitude to the 30 trillion cells that make the beautiful universe that is me, that I get to experience as Don Antonio, as Anthony. And as that fills up in me, I begin to radiate that. I don't got to move or do anything. I become the radiance. I'm no longer thinking gratitude. I'm no longer embodying gratitude. I am gratitude. And this is what you want to say with that internal voice, not out loud so much. Inside, I am gratitude. That's the real you, the thing without the voice, the thing that's not actually hearing with ears, that inner being. I am gratitude. And as you do that, use your intention now to begin to touch the world around you with gratitude. Be grateful for the space around you, the chair in which you sit, your clothes, your hair, everything. Being aware of your skin, your body, your bones. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Start to look at these things and inside yourself. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for the beauty and awe of just being alive. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you so much for allowing me to be here with my brother and my sisters in this show. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for my breath. Thank you to the energy and wisdom that's contained within the breath. Thank you to the spirit of breath. Take some time and extend that loving energy, extend that gratitude. Be thankful to your ancestors, all who have come before you to bring you here. Thank you, thank you, thank you. There's no limitation. Don't allow yourself to be limited. Use your time to practice, to use that intention, to reach your gratitude as far as it will go. And then the last step of my gratitude practice is once I expand and send it everywhere, I begin to reciprocate. Now that I've sent it, I allow the things I have gratitude for, the people, the places, the things, the stuff, the content of my reality, it begins to vibrate and send that energy back. And as it comes back, I open up those pores of my skin. And this is where I usually end with 3 conscious breaths. I breathe in and I take in all that loving gratitude. I hold it and I taste it. I feel it. And then I send it back out. I am gratitude. I am radiance. Breathe in. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And send it. And once more, breathe that in and send it out. I usually sit for just a couple moments. I allow myself to begin to come back to center. I never rush. I'm never in a hurry. I allow myself to come back as I see fit. I may sit here for a long time or not a long time. It doesn't matter. And as I begin to become aware, coming back into myself, coming back into the now, I begin to wake up my hands. I wake up my feet. I start to move my fingers and toes. I take in a nice deep breath. And as I release that breath, a big sigh comes out. And then I open my eyes to a soft gaze. And before I do anything else, I listen with my eyes. I look around in this new reality in which I've brought myself into through my intention. This new reality I brought myself into through the shift in my vibration, in my awareness, in my consciousness. In this place of living gratitude, this place of beauty, this heaven that exists around me. And I just take a moment and I listen, I feel. And as a big smile comes on my face, I allow myself to come back into the present moment. And I invite you all back to the present moment. And I want to thank you for going on that short journey with me. Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
How calm do you feel? I feel very calm. I love my nighttime practice. It gets me so ready. I do usually one more just as I'm falling asleep. But it's the nighttime practice is a very beautiful thing for me. It's something I like to do. This is a template kind of something I've been using recently. Using this method of, a little bit of breath. It's a little bit of meditation, visualization. You're working on many different planes of your neurology just in a few minutes. Just in a few minutes, you're working in your nervous system in many different angles and ways that begin to restructure the way the brain works, that begin to restructure how you even perceive reality. That's why I'm kind of at a point now, I don't really perceive problems anymore. I don't know what that means.
Yes.
I don't allow my mind to even do that. Like, I don't even like to use the word challenge anymore. Like, that's not for me. I don't see challenges. What I would tell you is I'm at a point of consciousness where I would tell you, I've never suffered a day in my life. My mind did, but I have not. I've never suffered. My thinking is the only thing that's ever suffered. And that's one thing that is really important for all of us to really understand. The only time you will ever suffer, ever, or ever have suffered is when you're in disagreement with what is. If you're disagreeing with reality, if you're in non-acceptance of what is, that is the only time you cannot. It's impossible to suffer otherwise. This doesn't mean you won't see pain. You'll see pain. I guarantee it. You have to. That's part of what being human is. If you're not open to receive and allow yourself to experience all types of emotion, feeling, and experience, then you're not whole. And that's a big thing that I try to get away from in a lot of new age spiritual communities. It's all about love and light, which is beautiful, but it's not all love and light. You're as much light as you are shadow, and that's okay. That's totally okay. And you want to experience those parts of yourself, not with shame, not with fear, not with hate, with love. With that part of you that needs to be loved. That part of you needs to be nurtured and taken care of. Because on a very deep level, I have a deep awareness. That's kind of what's happening. It's like we're training this being, this ego mind, how to handle life, how for it to become conscious. We're helping something. We're using consciousness to help something unconscious become conscious. That's how I kind of perceive what's happening and understand what's happening. And that's why we have to be gentle with the self. We have to be, when we slip into old patterns, this is a big thing I see with a lot of people. Oh, I did it again. I slipped into that old pattern. And I suck. I'm stupid. This isn't good. No. Just look at, oh, there's that pattern again. What can I do different this time?
Right.
Sure.
Maybe I'll just love myself first. Maybe I'll just show up and give myself a good, big old good hug. And I'll tell myself, you know what, Tony? It's okay that you fell into that old pattern again. But that's what this is all about. It's all about repeating patterns. That's all it is. Just like we mentioned earlier, I think it was earlier on, it was mentioned that you're going to recycle your experiences until proper internal change is made. That's how this place works. Even if you cut someone off and banish them from your life, another version of them, the same energy and different skin will show up. And even when you do overcome that with your consciousness, guess what will happen? The universe later on may bring that back around again just to see if you'll fall into that old pattern.
Yes.
And if you do, it's okay. That's okay, because that's not a mistake. Because without falling into the pattern, how do you learn not to repeat the pattern?
True.
This is something that me and Mary have gone through in our time. There's times where I'll attack a pattern. I'll purposefully repeat a pattern over and over just so I can get past it. And she'll be like, what is that? Why are you doing that? I'm like, this is how you get past things. You have to be open to receive the pain, receive that pattern. You have to see the pattern and live through the pattern to be able to overcome it, to be able to change it, to be able to take that energy and turn it into something else. Most people, something's uncomfortable. They're like, I'm not doing that again. Which is different for me because my mind, I'm fully aware that that place of uncomfortability is a reward. There's a living energy and a reward behind the discomfort, going into that discomfort willfully with love. And that's really where our courage and resilience resides.
I'd like to point something out. When I was looking at Mary when I came up, Mary is a tremendous channel, man. She's just this beautiful open channel. And one of our friends, Brianna, I remember when we used to do Light Club or we used to do things in the morning. And after a first minute or two, if you opened your eyes, the only thing you saw of Mary was her hair hanging in front of her face. And every now and then, bang, her head would land on the table because she was out. I can feel it running through my body as I'm talking about it. She was out channeling high, who knows where, I don't know. But that was the teamwork between the two of you it's just unbelievable when folks get a chance to experience it. If you meet them live, it's an unbelievable experience, as Diane and I were fortunate to do.
Thank you, Tommy.
Thanks, Tom.
I do feel called to share one thing, and that is we live in this human, right? And in the human conditioning of the mind and our society and our world, we are constantly looking externally for validation and for other people to make us feel safe and loved and all the things, right? You are the only person on this planet of 8 million people plus. Billion. Yeah, I said million, billion. That is having your experience. You are the only person on this planet that knows what you need to hear and feel.
So glad you said that.
We are the only ones, and we're taught when we put our attention, our energy, the word selfishness has been put out into the world as things being bad, or you're selfish because you're putting yourself first, or you're not thinking of others. There is a balance, and there is a big difference between being selfish and hurtful in a way.
Absolutely.
and being
Absolutely.
selfish in a way that you understand that you are your number one priority. So,
So true. So true. So true.
and Tommy, I just want to be so clear how grateful I am for you. And the two of you, when I tune into your being of who you are, I am blown away.
Mhm.
Joan and Karen, blown away. Super grateful.
Thank you, Mary.
Thank
I
you so
agree.
much. Thank you so much.
I agree.
I know.
I
Right. Yeah.
Look, we're
almost
all the universe talking to each other. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, we are so grateful for both of you.
Same.
We're so
Thank you.
grateful.
Thank you for the invite
Mhm.
to be with you in your space.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah,
when
Thanks
I
to
love what you're
Tommy as
saying.
well.
when these four first met each other backstage, we just had a few minutes before they went on. All four of them were just laughing and laughing and laughing. They were so happy to be with each other.
Mhm.
It's great to be a fly on the wall for that.
You're a part of it, Fly.
You're part of the container, Mr.
Yeah.
Black.
Right.
As I told Anthony at Light Club this morning, I don't kill flies anymore unless they absolutely make me.
Good.
Beautiful.
I'm gonna bail off here. Thank you so much for coming and being with us and being who you are.
You know,
Wow.
when we are in a space of alignment,
Mm.
spirit just speak.
Yeah.
You know, there is a flow, and the flow that happens when the alignment happens is beyond words. It's just beyond words, and we are a collective. We are here to help each other. And this human experience that we're going through, we are built for it. We are built for this human experience. It doesn't matter how you may look at it, but you have that resilience, that strength. You are strong. That is why the soul came back here, is for the evolution. The experience, because we are conditioned to believe that it's hard and it's the way how we perceive it. That is why we say it's going to be hard. But it's not hard. We are built for it, And without going through these different moldings, we can never know the true essence of that spirit.
Wow.
The true essence, like I'm talking to you, I'm getting chills are just running through my body.
Right.
The true essence of that spirit that we came back here with. We need to embrace it every single day that we live. And Anthony and Mary, you're a catalyst. You both are the catalysts that this world needs. The guiding light that the world needs in order to experience that evolution. Because what you did tonight, Anthony and Mary, is going to that essence of our inner being, touching that true essence of our inner being.
Qorianti.
Help us to understand
Mm-hmm.
what is it like to live in this present moment, embodying everything that is happening to us in this present moment, and don't see it as Anthony rightfully said, it's not a challenge.
Right.
We need it in order for our evolution. So this evening, if one thing you take away from this, embrace your true essence. Embrace who you are. Your soul knows the way. Sit in quiet moments of your life. It's okay to sit with yourself, because many of us cannot even do that. We can't even sit with ourselves. But we need to sit with ourselves and embrace ourselves. And whatever is happening around you, know that it's happening for you. It's happening for your higher good. It's happening to take you to the next stage and to the next level of your life. We all gonna go through different things. But the purpose that Anthony and Mary is here this evening is to help us all to understand that there is resilience within us. And it just depends on how we chose to look at it. Many times we just need to step back and allow the spirit to do its work. Trust your spirit. Trust your spirit. Your spirit knows exactly what it's doing. But we fear so much and we don't trust our spirit. The spirit knows exactly the process of evolution. It may be painful, but the spirit knows the process of our evolution. Trust it. Embrace your true essence. Mary and Anthony, I just want to thank you so much for taking the time and sitting with us this evening and sharing your energy in this space here, because someone needed this message this evening. They needed to hear your story. There may be a family out there who is struggling with a loved one, but hearing your story, it could make a difference in their lives. So thank you both once again. Thank you for the love that you share. Thank you for that love that you give to the world each and every day. Thank you. Thank you. Lady J.
Wow, wow, wow.
I love when you say that. Wow, wow, wow. Yeah, me too. I feel the same. Thank you.
Yeah. I mean, what a night. What a level of upliftment, a level of motivation, a level of transformation in this moment too, because we all have been transformed in just in this space tonight. When you took us on the journey, you took us on love and how you found each other and move into level of alignment, and your story from the emergency room to the intensive care to all of that, and then you took us on breath work, and you talked to us about the essentials of our diet and our lifestyle and our mindset, because mindset is everything. And you just you help us to look at ourselves as individuals. Who are we? What are we embodying? Because when you talk about diet, it's not only what we eat, what are we putting into? What are we listening? What do we surround ourselves with? And all of that stuff. And Mary, when you touch that, reminding people you're not a victim. You're not a victim, and embrace your awareness of who you are. Stop, pause, look at yourself. You both lift us up higher, want us to be better of ourselves, and you also help us to lean into our inner wisdom. What are we tapping into? That we are stronger than we think. That when we experience a situation, as Anthony rightfully said, it's not a challenge. We have the word is challenge that we say, but when we move it into a different space, because we're going deeper, and there is where you took us. You took us deeper. You might be experiencing something, but what are you learning from this situation? How is it giving you the level of resilience to rise higher, be stronger, and then move to a space of renewal? Because when you've been through something, you never be the same. You've been transformed. And there is where the resilience is, because you're built stronger. That whatever else you encounter in the future, you are stronger. You have the level of modalities that you believe in that's going to carry you through your breath work, your morning routine, your nightly routine. You're fortifying yourself because you are stronger. You're stepping into your greatness. You're walking in the level of grace. And you taught us tonight, and you poured so much on all of us tonight. You serve us so well. For who is watching live and those who are going to catch us on the replay, take time with yourself and understand who you are. Love yourself. Embrace yourself. Embody all of the things you taught us. Focus on your breath. And when you take that breath in, let it go deep within you. And you talk about visualization. Because in that moment, visualize who you want to become. And you go to your future self and you start designing that. You both are light carriers. You're shining your light, and you're helping others to shine their light, or you're helping others to hold their light until they can believe stronger in themselves to shine their light as well. You both are blessed. We love you both because you have poured so much things so beautiful on us. You give us new tools. Listen to your story, your love, your partnership, your friendship, and all of that stuff is truly special. You both live a life of bliss, and you move through life so beautifully because you know that things are going to happen, but how do I choose as an individual to look at it? We want to thank you both so much for saying yes and blessing us in this moment, that you're setting us off in the ninth month of 2025. But this has been a gift to all of us
Mm-hmm.
because now we can reset, as Mary, I think you spoke about reset. We can reset and look where we are in this moment, and how are we going to take this moment that is given to us to move forward, the end of 2025, and reset to move into 26 and the rest of our life beyond. Because when these moments come, there are gifts that we can continue to use in our lives to move forward, to stay calm, to stay centered, to stay balanced as we experience whatever we experience in the moments of our lives. And then we can share it with a friend and help them to, and help them to embrace yourself, show yourself love and compassion and grace, so that you can show yourself that level of grace, that you can move through life regardless of whatever you experience in every moment. We just want to say thank you all. We love you so much. And we're so grateful that you took the time to spend this 2 hours and change with us. And Tommy as well. Thank you. And to the listeners and to the viewers, we love you all. Thank you for sharing this space with us as well. Dedicate?
Yeah. Oh my goodness. This was so refreshing.
It was.
This was like a rebirth.
It was.
It was just like rebirth because Anthony
Mhm.
took us through that breath
Yep.
work.
Yep.
You know,
Beautiful.
and what a better way to start off your week
Mhm.
with regulating your
Right.
nervous system.
True.
You know, as you're about to go to work tomorrow, there are some tools now that you can put into your toolbox. Breath work, you know, as you sit at a traffic light. You know, many times we get upset with people in front of us and all of these kind of things happening, you know.
Mm-hmm.
As you sit there, you can do some deep breathing, regulate your nervous system, you know. Sometimes you may experiencing something at home. When you get into your car before you drive off, regulate yourself, your nervous system before you press that brakes to turn that engine and start your journey on the road wherever you're going. So this week, regulate. This week, as you will start out this week, regulate your nervous system. And a good way to do it is by doing breath work. A few deep breaths, as Anthony showed us this evening, a few deep breaths and regulate your nervous system. Whatever you may be going through, regulate. And the beautiful thing is that we have a choice, we have the ability to regulate. That's the beautiful thing. We can do it. Whatever you're going through, we can regulate, you know. And as you regulate, you rebuild, you know. And as you rebuild now, you transform. So it's so many things start to happen within this vessel that we're carrying around with us. It's so many things start to happen as we regulate this nervous system. So this week, just pause, reflect, and regulate yourself.
Hashtag.
Sit in, that's a good one, Lady J. Sit in your quiet moments and regulate yourself. You know, just regulate yourself. You may be angry at something.
Yeah.
Step back, pause, regulate.
Yeah. That pause is the big thing, you know. You
Yeah.
step back, you pause, and then like I call it like the law of 3 centering breaths. If you can just slow yourself down long enough to just take 3 big breaths, they don't have to be super big and telegraphed like I'm showing. That's just for this. That's really big. You can be quiet. Mary started doing this back when she was working in an office. No one knew she was doing it. She would just become aware of her breathing. Deep, full breaths, just taking those few 3 breaths. And with that hashtag, I also want to put out, if anyone is interested in learning more about breath work and learning more about nervous system regulation, I teach a lot more than just breathing and about breathing. Feel free to reach out to me and those kinds of things. And also, as we're kind of ending here, I kind of feel called to use one of my shamanic tools. And what I want to do is I want to close this kind of ceremony, because this feels very ceremonious to me. So what I want to do is I'm just going to do a little haiwa, which means a prayer in Quechua, it's not English. So if you don't know Quechua, that's okay. I just want you to close your eyes and allow yourself to feel the energy and vibration that comes through these words as I make this closing prayer for us. Anaiki Qorianti, Arpichai Sonkochai, Munaicha Solpaiki, Wikawaiku, Anaiki Qorianti, Saiwa Kapunkunamanta Samachaiki, Anaiki Qorianti, Anaiki Pachamama, Anaiki, Waira Taita, Anaiki, Antitaita, Anaiki Qorianti, Anaiki, Mama Kia, Anaiki Qorianti, Arpichai Sonkola, Arpichai. Thank you.
Thank you, Anthony. Thank you, Mary. And to the audience, we just want to thank you so much for taking the time and sitting with us this evening. If you know someone who can benefit from Anthony and Mary work that they do, just reach out to them. Reach out and make contact with them. And we just want to say that it's a pleasure. It's just a pleasure and a treat to have both of you here this evening and sharing your energy with us. We value your energy and it's precious. And thank you for sharing it with us.
Thank you. It's an honor.
Thank you. And to the 246 Bajan Fives family, we just want to thank you so much for creating this space for us that we can come into this space and we can share. And we just want to let you know that the 2 for 6 Bajan Vibes link is now in our digital magazine. We provided that link there in our digital magazine as well. And all the links to Anthony, to Mary, myself, and Joan, it's in the comments below. Just go to the notes and you're going to see all the links to our books, digital, hard copy magazine. All the links are there. And have a blessed week. Don't forget to regulate. When you're feeling as though you're going to get angry about something, just regulate. And consider the other person who you're getting angry with, what they are going through as well. Regulate. This is a week of regulating. See you here next week with another fabulous topic and great guests as well. Have a good one. We love you all. Bye-bye.